Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to talk about the amazing digital circus. I am so excited to talk about this show. I have been hooked on it since day one. I've been watching it since episode 1, and honestly, I have been dying to talk about it with other people. I finally got my roommate to watch it with me, so now I could talk about it with her. But I want to tell y'all, I love this show so much for so many different reasons. Like I love indie projects. I love indie projects. Like I'll be the first one to tell you that I love a lot of indie games more than like the big like AAA games, right? And the same thing goes for animation, right? Like I love indie projects because they have so much like heart and just passion behind these projects. And honestly, The Amazing Digital Circus is a show that is so unique. It's so one of a kind. And I love things that really go deep, right? Like, and that really make you think. And Digital Circus is one of those shows that has touched on so many elements, especially around just mental health, right? And as someone that's a big advocate for mental health, I love when shows are able to tap into those subjects in a way that still feels authentic, but also in a way that's so unique in the way that Digital Circus is doing. But enough about my love of the show. I want to get into episode 8. Y'all, when I tell you, I was so nervous going into episode 8. And a lot of it had to do with the teasers that we got, because we got that big mural that was revealed leading up to the episode revealing. People saw that the episode title, which is a bunch of like mashed letters, and all signs were pointing to Caine is gonna go crazy, right? Caine is gonna go crazy, or at least one of the Digital Circus members are gonna go crazy. And honestly, I was holding my breath because I thought for sure someone was gonna abstract. I thought for sure it was gonna happen, like especially with episode 8 being the second to last episode. I'm like, something crazy is going to happen with this show. And as someone that is quite emotional and gets emotional over the media that they consume, I was nervous. I was nervous that I was going to end this episode in tears. I had my tissue box ready to go because I was not ready. I was not prepared for what this episode was going to entail. But it actually ended up ending in a way that I did not expect at all. There was also a couple of things too that I thought was gonna happen that didn't, so I want to talk about all that in this video. First things first though, Queenie is living up to her name. Do you hear me? I loved that we got to see Queenie. I love that we got to see her and Kinger interacting in the circus, back when they were both there together. Now, I actually had the conspiracy theory with this episode that Caine was going to bring back all the people that had abstracted. Like, I did anticipate we were going to see Queenie, mostly because we kind of saw her teased in the trailer for this episode, but I thought for sure we were going to get Queenie and Ribbit, Kaufmo, maybe Scratch, like all these people that abstracted. I thought Caine was going to bring them back for an adventure. Like I thought we were going to get an adventure where he brought back all the people that abstracted in to kind of like, make people happy and make amends. I was actually surprised that that's not what happened. I'm actually glad about, being able to see the flashback. I think it's really cool to kind of see the origins of the circus, especially with how the episode starts out with like the blue and red dots. Now I was kind of slow at first, and I didn't realize what was happening because I didn't piece together that this was like the origins until the episode played out a little bit more, and I'm like, oh, okay, this was like the beginning of the circus. Like I was kind of on the right track because I assumed that the dot was Caine and that he was being fed that information, but I didn't piece together that this was like the beginning of them building out the AI. I thought we were seeing Caine being corrupted. I thought that the red dot was the corruption coming to mess him up. I didn't realize that Caine was the red dot, but I figured it out eventually. So yeah, I thought that's how we were gonna see Queenie and everybody. And so, again, love the flashback. Obviously it was gut wrenching to see Kinger be like, also, by the way, sorry, I know I sound nasally. Apologies for that. These seasonal allergies are kicking my behind. The pollen count is high. So apologies if y'all hear me talking through my nose. I'm sorry. It was so heartbreaking seeing Kinger about to say to Queenie, oh, I'll never forget you. And then it cuts to her abstracting. And I wonder if we are going to get some more about how Queenie's abstraction happened, whether it be in another flashback, whether it be maybe we'll get like a book or some type of spin-off, you know, in the future. You know, it did suck. Seeing that, but then also seeing too how Kinger was basically in the circus by himself for years until Ragatha showed up, which further shows how Kinger possibly lost his mind just on his own, right? Like, I know a lot of people had suspicions that Caine had something to do with Kinger losing his mind, and in a weird way it still works out that way, right? Because it's either Caine purposely messed with Kinger's mind from like a programming standpoint, and or because of Caine all these people ended up losing their minds and abstracting, which therefore led to Kinger being all by himself, which eventually led to him losing his mind. So I think either way, Caine is responsible for Kinger losing his mind, but it is interesting. It was also interesting seeing that Ragatha was the first kind of aside from Kinger, from like the new cast of people that appeared in the circus, and that it seemed that she was exploring the headset with a group of friends. I've seen a couple theories thrown around online about how Ragatha was probably peer pressured into it, but she was the only one that got wrapped into the circus by herself, which I could totally see that backstory checking out. But yeah, I just, you know, again, love my girl. Also, I missed I must have forgot. Like, I definitely saw Queenie's door before, but I just completely forgot. So when I saw what she looked like and what she sounded like, I was like, oh, Queenie is a black woman. And that, y'all, I was so excited when I saw that Queenie was black. I'm like, oh, I love her already. Like, I love seeing that representation in media. And yes, I did end up buying the Queenie plush and I might even get the keychains. We'll see. But yeah, shout out to Queenie and shout out to the voice actress that played Queenie. She did a phenomenal job. She really did. Another thing that was interesting to me with this episode is the fact that nobody abstracted. Like, I said earlier, I thought for sure someone was going to abstract. Like, I thought it was either going to be Jax, Zubul, or Ragatha for different reasons. Coming into this episode, I thought Jax had potential of getting abstracted. We have seen this man on the verge of abstraction for the past like 2 episodes at least. And, I think last episode he got real close when he like touched Ribbit's hand and everything and went through that like trippy sequence. Yeah, I thought Jax for sure was on the verge because he's really starting to lose it. Like, his mask is falling off pretty hard. Like, this persona of him getting under people's skin is starting to wear off because people have now peeped game. Like, they peep, okay, you're doing this out of hurt, out of trauma, you're doing this to mask your real emotions. So now you see, even in this episode, when Jax tries to like pick at them, it doesn't work. It doesn't phase them. Like, aside of that little moment that him and Zubul had at the beginning of the episode, they're like unfazed at Jax trying to poke at them because they know what he's trying to do. So you see Jax becoming more vulnerable and showing that side of him more. I also thought there was a world where Zubul might abstract because, when Glitch released that mural, you see Caine holding on to Zubul specifically. So I'm like, oh, he might be targeting Zubul in this episode. And you even see in the beginning of the episode that they are trying to grieve and mourn the loss of the dreams and goals that they had outside of the circus. We see when Pomni is like, hey, maybe we should abandon the idea of leaving. Zubul's the first one that's like, wait, no, like I had goals. I had things I wanted to do outside of the circus. Like, you see that they are the ones that's struggling the most, at least in this moment, with the thought of not leaving. And I could see how that could mess up someone's mind and that could lead them to abstracting. So I thought Zubul had potential of abstracting. Also because Zubul, up until this point, I feel like people didn't expect them to be the ones that abstracted. But again, just seeing those emotional moments, I'm like, okay, I could see that happening. Ragatha as well. Now, Ragatha, I didn't think was gonna abstract until we kind of saw her starting to lose her mind in this episode as well. And she's just like, I can't take it anymore. Like, we have to get Caine to stop. Like, I'm losing my mind. And so I thought, Ragatha might have had, potential for abstracting. But again, this was all just speculation as to who could abstract, because I did not think that Caine would be the one to end up leaving the circus. Now, one thing that I am surprised about, and I kind of touched on this briefly in the beginning, is I'm surprised we didn't see any other cast members. Like, because once I saw we got a Queenie flashback, I was like, okay, so we're probably gonna get some other flashbacks then, but then we just didn't. So that surprised me a lot because I thought for sure we were going to get a Ribbit and Kaufmo flashback, especially because the main cast, like they end up going back to the place that Ribbit, Kaufmo, and Jax were all at, and presumably where Ribbit abstracted. Like they literally were holding like the same hot chocolate cups in that scene, and Jax even says in that moment like, oh, it's been a minute since I've been up here, because he's probably traumatized. And so I was really surprised that we didn't get more with them, especially because last episode they literally hired a voice actress to play Ribbit. So I'm like, clearly, I don't know, I would hope that they didn't hire her on just for background noise, essentially. Like I hope that we do get more of Ribbit at least in next episode, because I would hate to think that they just hired the actress just for that little bit and then that was it. So I was really surprised that we didn't get more, and I feel like we have to, right? Like I feel like next episode it would be interesting to kind of see the moment, right? Like see the moment that Ribbit abstracted, or see the moments leading up to Kaufmo abstracting, because I completely forgot we actually did see Kaufmo. Well, we didn't see Kaufmo abstract, but we saw the aftermath of Kaufmo abstracting in episode 1. So I'll be curious to see what that timeline looks like, and maybe how it contributed to why Jax is the way that he is. So hopefully we see that in episode 9, but if not, it is what it is. Now, obviously the big shock of the episode was that Caine ended up getting deleted. Now, I know there's a lot of thoughts around, who's really at fault for this, because, we do see that when Kinger was trying to, put a pause on Caine, you do see his finger accidentally tap the delete button. So I think the initial deletion was from Kinger, but you have a lot of people that are speculating that Bubble might have been the one that made it to where Kinger couldn't stop the deletion, because he was trying, and it seemed like something was overriding him to continue that deletion, which also goes into the whole thing of like, okay, is Bubble the real villain? Is Bubble actually that blue dot that we saw in the beginning? It's a very interesting theory, and I think I could definitely see a world where that is the case, and I think it's gonna be a very cool and interesting twist, because no one really paid Bubble much mind up until this point. So to think that Bubble might end up being like the true main villain of this whole franchise, I think is an amazing twist. So I kind of hope that is the case, and again, we'll see how that all plays out in the last episode. And I'm also curious, because I know obviously Caine is gone and deleted now, but there's a part of me that's like, well, I wonder if there's a way for them to like factory reset him, bring him back, even if it means bringing him back and he is basically reset from the beginning, like he has no memory of anything that happened before because he's starting fresh. Like I do wonder if they're able to bring him back, and I know that's a small part of me that's hoping for a happy ending, but seeing how Digital Circus has gone up until this point, I think this is going to be one of those series that just has a bad ending. It's just a matter of how bad it is, right? Because obviously with Caine presumably gone forever, that begs the question of like, what's next? Like what happens now? You see Zubul at the end of the episode can curse without being censored. So there's the element of, okay, how much control did Caine truly have? Will they actually remember their names now? Will Kinger be able to stay sane? Like the circus is darker because it's losing its color now, but did Caine have an effect on Kinger's mind? Like, will Kinger just now be sane? There's also a question of them all maintaining their sanity, because as annoying as these adventures may have been for them, it did keep their minds active. It did keep them sane. It kept them from going crazy. And so I wonder if maybe part of the lesson in all this is, like they wanted Kinger gone, and or they wanted these adventures gone, but now that they don't have that, are they inevitably all gonna lose their minds and abstract? So that's something that's been on my mind. I've also thought about the people that abstracted, right? Because you don't have Caine keeping them in this cellar anymore. So are we gonna see all the people that abstracted come back? Like there's so many questions, and I wonder how many questions are truly gonna be answered, in this last episode. And something that I appreciate too about the Digital Circus is that they are making it clear that this is a finale episode. Now, whether there is potential for a season 2, whether it be for the main cast or a new cast of people, whether there's potential for, again, a spinoff or something more than that, I don't know. But this at very least is going to feel final enough, with maybe a little bit sprinkled in there for potential to expand it, you know, past that. But I like the fact that they know when to end it, right? Like, I think selfishly a lot of us would like more episodes of Digital Circus, but I like when a franchise and when a company, they know when to end it. Right? You have companies like Mob Entertainment with Poppy Playtime, or Scott Steelwool with FNAF, and you have people that are like, okay, this is going on for so long that now the lore is getting convoluted, it's not making any sense, and now it feels like y'all are kind of just dragging it. And here's the thing, I'm not even too upset about that, because these are all of my guilty pleasures. And so if FNAF wants to keep going, if Poppy Playtime wants to keep going, if Digital Circus wants to keep going, I'm not gonna complain about it in the way that other people are. But you know, I love a good clean ending. I do. And I love, you know, having questions answered, you know, instead of just prolonging it and making it more complicated. So I appreciate the fact that they're being clear that this is the final episode, at least for the current story as it stands. So yeah, I think, you know, overall we are in for a ride with this last episode. I am both excited and nervous and also sad. You know, like, I presume that at the end of episode 9, I'm probably going to end up in tears, but it's either going to be because the ending is just so gut-wrenching that it drives me to tears, and or I'm going to be sad that the series is ending, because it's been such a fun ride. Everybody that has a part in this, like all the voice actors and actresses, Gooseworks, Glitch, like everybody that has worked on this show has done such a phenomenal job. And I think this show is something to be studied, honestly. Like, I think that they've done a lot of things right, and I'm just really happy for everybody that's, you know, worked on Digital Circus, that's been able to experience the success that has come from the show, and all the love and support from the fans as well. Although the fans can be a bit much. They can be a bit much, but yeah, what a ride it has been, and I am really excited to, you know, experience this, you know, in its entirety. And I'm excited to see how the series wraps up, and you know, I'll definitely be covering it on the channel. You know, let me know if you guys want some type of reaction analysis video from me as well when the new episode drops in June. And also let me know you guys' thoughts on episode 8. You know, what were some of your theories coming into it? Was anything that you predicted, you know, did it come true? Is there anything that you're anticipating for the last episode? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead, get a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.